Let's get started. And I'm going to start with you, Sachin, first. And I'd love to hear from you, in your organization, what are the kind of technology partnerships that you have done that you personally believe have led to impact, or anything that you have developed internally that you're proud of and you would love to share with the audience today?
Thanks for having me here. When it comes to technology, being a digital-first company, our genesis was how can we use technology to simplify the distribution of lending products, and make the life of a consumer easier, because loans, all these financial products, they are a bit tricky and a bit confusing, and people usually, if you're not well aware of the product and the intricacies, you often make mistakes. So that was the core of the organization. When it comes to marketing, I believe if we break branding or marketing, the initial part is communication,
Right.
and the second half is experience. I think it's a combination of these two. In communication, how can we reach out to the right person at the right place with the right message, right? And we are using technology in all three. How, first of all, how can we identify the right person whom to reach out to? So we, as an organization, realized the importance of data very early. In fact, in the beginning of of our journey, we even though we have a business unit structure, in our organization, but the data is centralized. And I see a lot of organizations, they face difficulties when putting up a layer of personalization or omni-channel marketing or whatever, because the data is not centralized. Data is not in the right shape. So we first had a data lake, and everything else sits on that data lake. So that makes our life easier. We are using personalization. We are using omni-channel marketing, working with Salesforce. We are using their stack. We have their CDP also, CDP layer also. So trying to figure out when to send, what to send, whom to send, etc., etc. When it comes to the experience part, in a lending company or in a lending process, the biggest experience you can give to a customer is when whatever product he has applied for, he gets approved for that. Because the rejection rates are high. If 100 people apply for a loan, roughly half of that they get rejected. There are various factors, but through the help of data, you can minimize that. You cannot make it zero, because there would be attributes which you cannot solve, like a low credit score or insufficient income or something of that sort. But we are working with 70, 80 partners across the board. We are working with fintechs, we are working with large banks, and there is a target segment for every lending organizations. We are trying to match the consumer with the right provider, so that the chances of approval is highest, and we are using it through the technology. Because every organization has a different credit algorithm, and it is not available to the distribution partners. But what we are trying to do, we have data of last 10 years. We are trying to reverse engineering that and figuring out basis the attributes of those consumers, where the loan will get approved, where that person has the highest chances of approval. We are now figuring out, we are working with Microsoft. We have roughly 5,000 people calling these customers day in and day out, because still, one part of the journey is offline. People do not come, even though the journey is digitized, but people tend to stop the journey midway, and you have to intervene. There are 5,000 people who are calling these customers. There's a cost attached to it. There's so we are figuring out how can we utilize that data, the calling data, and create a private GPT, and then try if we can replace some portion of that process where a human is involved calling these customers with AI.
Brilliant. I love how you have simplified marketing to just like communication and experience. And if you think about it, it's really that. On one side, you're communicating with your customer, whether it's through social media, ATL, BTL, or otherwise. And if not that, then you're bringing them to the point of sale, whether it's offline or online, and really giving them the kind of experience that makes them want to come back. And you're trying to simplify both by the use of data, by the use of technology, and also by the way of AI, which is really the holy grail of all marketing efforts today. So Puneet, just to sort of build on that, what is your view and how do you kind of fuse all of these things together, whether it's data, whether it's technology, analytics, to fuel any technology related decisions at your company and kind of, make more brand impact?
See, we are in the business of buying and selling old phones. So we buy old phones, we refurbish them, and then we sell them back in the market. Now, this entire business model exists in the unorganized market, and the reason we exist is because we make it more. We push the right and the fair value to the customer, and we can only do it through technology.
Okay,
So
excellent.
technology is at the backbone of Cashify, right from the app to right from collecting these phones from people, giving them the right price by diagnosing the right issues in the phone. Those could be physical, those could be functional, and then pushing the leads to marketplace or maybe our own logistics, and then getting those phones collected from customers. So all these things, all these steps require a lot of technology. The pricing is also quite nuanced because it changes on a daily basis, right? So there are new launches coming, the phones are getting obsolete. So that ways we have to be on our toes in terms of, so that it's only built through technology. Humans cannot do it.
Right.
We can't, it's just like stock exchange.
Right.
I mean, there is an algorithm which works in the back end, which pushes the right price, the right fair value, and then we collect those phones, then we take it to our warehouse. Again, it is also technology enabled, right from stocking them, stock in, stock out, everything is through technology. And on top of it, we also have a physical presence with our 200 stores. So technology is at the backbone. And in terms of, this is from the product standpoint.
Sure.
In terms of marketing, we kind of develop a lot of, because we are sitting on data, we understand and not just customers' data, but also customers' data maybe sometimes in the phone. So we have those processes in place where we take care of data security and safety. In terms of using tools for marketing, we develop a lot of things in-house because we have a huge tech team. So we leverage that. And we also look at what is going to cost us more. If a third-party tool can, we can integrate a third-party tool at a lower cost, we might do that. Otherwise, we'll develop it in-house. So we look at the cost angle as well.
Right.
So these are the steps we take in leveraging technology within our business.
So yours is clearly a technology-first business. It's like a technologically native business.
It looks like a very simple transaction, but there's a lot of technology.
Enablement behind it. Yeah. And do you have any particular criteria when you say scale or when you say that, okay, let's move from internal to external? What is that tipping point according to you which makes you look outside for a partner?
I think naturally it happens. The business will tell you that now you need a third-party tool, or maybe now you need to make it your own. So there's no set benchmark for it.
Okay.
As we scale, we understand now, okay, these are the users that we can now handle through our own tech.
Right.
Then probably we start building it. So I think those are stages which any startup faces. We start with third-party tools and probably then we make one ourselves, and vice versa as well.
I'll just add a little bit here. So I think it's common with all startups. We first try to build our own tools. So at the end, it is about the cost, total cost. And it's not only the monetary transaction, but the cost attached to your technology team's bandwidth. How long will it take? How many people will it take to make that tool? And then what is the output? So it's a simple cost-benefit analysis. If it can be built within the stipulated time frame And so basically, as startups, we are okay to have an capex than an opex. That's the bottom line.
I think that's a lovely point, and I think just for the audience in the room also, that's a great takeaway, because sometimes we want to simplify the decision making, and capex versus opex can be a good way to see where the organization priority lies. On that note, Madhur, you are part of one of the most valuable startups that India has created, and you've used technology not just for marketing and for CRM, but also on the product side. Not to mention, you have a pretty cool brand ambassador, and you've had a history of very cool people supporting your brand for a while. So I'm sure the audience would love to hear from you how you bring it all together. Like, there's a huge human angle to your brand with the kind of influencer programs and the deep marketing that you do. And then there's a big technology angle to your brand, both in terms of CRM and the product itself. So let's hear more. Cool shades.
Yeah, I'm wearing one of them.
One of the most luxurious man in India is using the Lenskart glasses. It's a smart move.
Yeah, that was also one of the discussion happened internally with a lot of voting happens that whether we should go with him or not. And I think it worked well. I think that's what we discussed, right? The communication. Yeah. It's not about the person, it's about what you're going to portray. Yeah. What was the set of audience? What were you trying to communicate? We used him in exactly the way we wanted to tell to the consumer that we are luxurious, but we are affordable. And we give you a premium support. But I'll come back to a technology part first to you, and thank you for putting me on the spot. So I'll take a larger time here. When I was having my first round of interview with Piyush, he mentioned we are a tech company. We are not a retail company. So
he says that to everyone.
He's a brand ambassador himself of being a tech company, and apparently that's what it's in our DNA. We follow the process. We were discussing it outside also that yes, we do create something of our own with a very simple motive that we have to make it long term. We never think we have to fix the problem now. We have to fix it. Why? We are not just serving eyewear. We are, there's a leadership meeting happens once in a week in our office, and we don't discuss business, we discuss the problem. And the problem is to provide vision to billion. And being a part of the capital of world into the blind way, it's a big problem, it's a serious problem to solve. One, there is a range of people, we are Indians, we do not go to the doctor till our all home remedies have been fixed. So we don't even go for an eye test till we get to know certain problems. There is a problem which you might be having, but you always ignore it. To create that education, to create the awareness, technology always have supported us to provide it how easy it is for you to understand what is the problem. I don't know how many of you know, but we have come up with the world's largest factory right now in Gurgaon, and it's been completely automated to deliver the best quality of lenses, the best fast approach business. This is all tech, which is able to give us that build up. The recent move we have done it was that, okay, people are accepting our eyewear, but what is next? What is the experience of marketing we should give them? So we came up with a plan called, the problem is local opticians give you somewhere around 6-7 days of timelines. We're gonna give you 3 days for free. So we came up with that. This was a whole, again, a tech-built proportion we have created. We checked it and we started delivering it in pilots in different states. And now it's pan-India. It's a 3 months back story. Now we have come to one-day delivery.
Wow.
So we're gonna, yeah, so that's again a tech which is helping us. So it's a key improvisation. Now why we use tech so much and why we talk about it so much, because this helps us automate the things which we have already thought of. Human intervention is done. We have done it, delivering it. Now let's think something new and make a tech around it. Coming about the personalization, every D2C brand right now talks about it. Google is filled with it, how to make it. But do we really do it? No. You see, most of people apparently goes into the data mindset. I always believe in creating a category. Do something which no one else is doing. How? By telling them, by creating that education. That is what personalization means. I have to go deeper into my customer DNA, understand what his lifestyle and where I can jump in. Why you have one single pair of eyewear when you have 5 of them as per your daily need or a weekly need. So mindset is very different, a plan is very different, and yes, I mean, there are many more features yet to come, which is very much around the tech and all. But that's our big thing. I mean, we are working towards making this decision for a long term that we create something of our own, use it, fix it, and keep improvising on it.
I think you said a lot of interesting things. But the one thing that I'm taking away from this discussion is that I can go home, I can go to the Lenskart store near my house, buy a specs, and hopefully I'll get it tomorrow. So I'm taking that away from this discussion.
Indeed, and I'm going to check my data whether I have a good traffic today in the nearest store of Gurgaon if all of you visit some of the nearest stores for you, and I'll come back to you to make it more personalized marketing campaigns around it.
Super, that's a sales pitch for you right there. But love the passion for the brand there. And moving to you, Kishan, we were just speaking in the afternoon, and I was like, you have something that you can share with the audience today that will make all of them instant fan of yours. So why don't we start with that, and then we'll come to technology.
Okay, so I was sharing with Kanika across. So Pepper as a whole, I don't come from a brand side of things. Basically, I'm the one who's been building a lot of technology, Martech around the entire marketing boom. We were one of the first users of GPT-3, which was the parent technology to what you have as Chat GPT and generative AI all throughout. Probably the first 50 in the world, a few like very early in Asia. We've met Sam Altman and the team to and fro to kind of build this out all throughout. And I was telling it to Kanika across, she asked me to share it this way. But now that is in news across. So yeah, I think that was the...
See, all of you who are fans of Sam Altman, or you want to know more about what's happening with Microsoft X OpenAI, he's your man. You can grab him after the panel.
No. That's why. That's the reason I was just questioning about speaking about it right today itself. But he's coming back, so...
No, wonderful. I think we've spoken a lot about technology adoption, and we've spoken a lot about the success of it. And when we were speaking earlier, you mentioned how PepperContent actually puts a layer of SaaS as well. And India is honestly, like, I think if there's one thing that has been the biggest global export from India in technology, it's been SaaS products. So any learning that you want to share, any success, any failure also that you think the audience can benefit from when it comes to application of SaaS. And if I may just go a step further and ask you this, there've been a bunch of articles and news around how in India, adoption of SaaS can never be successful, especially on the consumer SaaS side of things. But at the same time, we see a lot of global shipment happening around this product. So if you could touch upon that aspect as well, I think it will be of great value to our audience here.
Yeah, sure. What I'll do is I'll answer the second question that you asked first.
Go for it.
This
is a more controversial one. So
first one in that case. But so quick story about us, right? I mean, we built a product called peppertype.ai. I don't know if some people in the audience might have ever seen it in the past, or we built this. I'm pretty sure you all have heard of copy.ai or Jaspers of the world, that way around, right? We got early access to it. We built a product called PepperType AI. Got almost 500,000 users with no single penny spent on paid marketing, just with like Twitter virality, it being picked in mainline news across the world. 95% users coming in from the US. It was very good. I mean, I had the likes of all companies I wanted to boast about ever in my life coming and using PepperType. But then realized we shut shop the product right now. PepperType AI doesn't exist anymore. And the reason we had to take that call is one very interesting user behavior we obtained is, and that's actually same with you. I would actually put it this way, right? I'll ask all of you guys one quick question, right? Okay, just bear with me for these two questions. How many of you have used ChatGPT once? Okay. How many of you use it for more than 10 times? How many of you use it for more than 100 times? How many of you use it almost every day? And I think I see that fall in hands coming down, basically. The reason is that this is the exact user behavior that I just shown across. People use it by means of fascination in the first go. Used it twice, thrice, 10 times, but no one was able to adopt it in 100% in their regular workflows. And that's the reason if you see companies like a Writer or a Jasper or a Copy.ai who are building global AI products, are all building workflows. Enterprise grade LLMs is the new buzzword that has come after LLMs all throughout. They're all building workflows around AI. Now, the reason I wanted to show this, that's the one behavior that we have observed across. Now, the problem with that Indian mindset, like you said, right, there are a lot of articles about that Indian adoption because, see, traditionally, we have been an agency-dominated market. Not that the global markets aren't. Our adoption to technology was very weird. I mean, I can tell you, in fact, when we started in 2017, that way around. We started as a proper service bit. We early in time realized that टेक बनाते हैं फॉर द कस्टमर, देन रियलाइज कस्टमर बोलता है यार एक काम करो तुम ही 2 लोग लगा दो और इसको यूज करके मेरे को एंड आउटकम एक्सेल शीट पे भेज दो. That was the literal logic, and I think a lot of people amongst the audience might echo to the same mindset, and I think that's still today there. I mean, in most organizations that would still be there. We're still shifting away from it. We've come a far way, but that's a cycle that has happened everywhere in the world. It's like a 10-year shift that we are seeing across. So in fact, if you see any SaaS company from India right now, they're all selling to the US. Look at any primary SaaS company in India, their biggest market is including us for our product in that case. Because of the fact that we've realized that India, and that's a reality of the business in this case, in India, it is always gonna be a technology plus a talent play. Either it be for a SaaS company in that case, that's why you see an Adobe having that big of an Adobe consultation sitting out of India. Basically, a Salesforce that big having an implementation network sitting out of India. Because probably we're still, I mean, not that we're not moving ahead, we're still say 5 years, 7 years ahead. I mean, 5 or 7 years behind 100% adoption. So that's again a thing. Again, it's an enterprise thing with the new startups coming in, new companies coming in, their adoption is pretty high that way around. I mean, I've seen that. I mean, I have so many people in the panel. We've spoken about Pepper. Some of them are using the products that we have got. And I can tell you all of them are using a lot of Indian-based SaaS like CleverTap, MoEngage, WebEngage. They're fantastic products built out of India. We're still adopting to it, but that enterprise-grade option will come. It will take some time. So I think those are the things I wanted to answer. Anything that I've missed on, please.
No, this is good. And like I said, right, like our panel couldn't be happening at a more opportune time. I think the biggest discussion in the world right now, especially on Twitter and in the news, is around technology and how technology can change the world. There are a lot of conversations happening around the benefit of AI once it is scaled, right from free classes for the underprivileged to several other benefits related to even healthcare, for example. So we are certainly on the cusp of something huge. And I think this panel here has the privilege of working on technology-first brands and companies and kind of really seeing the revolution happen and the adoption happen from inside. So I think these insights are really valuable. And just to build on to that, with you, Manav, we were just speaking earlier and we were talking about technology adoption and how when you have to adopt technology, the person who you are kind of bringing into the foray also matters. Like, is he digitally first himself? Is he more of a traditionalist? And getting that mindset to change across internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, business partners, etc., can be quite an uphill task. So we'd love to hear from you your experiences on technology adoption and digitalization of the mindset.
So sure. So I represent a industry which is automobiles, right? And automobiles are traditionally known as slowest to change. More so when you're looking at building four-wheelers or two-wheelers at scale, and yet you've had a shining example in Tesla, which has not only shown that why world needed another car, but he has pretty much reinvented how cars are built, sold, and marketed as well, right? So I think if you look at it from the pace of innovation standpoint, automobiles probably are today the largest and the fastest adopter of technology, right? And more so when, I represent a company which has sold 100 million bikes so far. I mean, we're the largest manufacturers of two-wheelers in the world, and I strongly believe, and I'm sure people here ride or have also sort of ridden two-wheelers in the past, I strongly believe that four-wheeler moves a body, two-wheeler moves a soul. So those of you who have not yet started to ride, I'll strongly urge you to do that and experience it yourself. I think this entire debate about tech impacting business as a whole, one of the key missing pieces that we haven't spoken about is people. No matter what Martech stack you pick, no matter whether you work with Salesforce, Adobe, PepperContent, anything else, so long as you don't have right set of people, part of the team, driving it, none of the techs will yield the efficacious outcome that they are intended to do. Point number two, when you look at it from a people standpoint, that's where you look at it from an internal to organization as well, that how it becomes a very hard sell for a CMO or for a CDO to go back to the shareholders, to go back to the founders, to go back to the board and say, hey, you know what, I want to pick this shiny, glitzy, piece, and I want to sort of try or experiment things that have never been experimented before, right? It is much easier a conversation to do, hey, you know what, you should experiment and fail. But anyone who has worked at scale would realize that you cannot attain scale unless you have experimented and failed and experimented and failed, right? And that is the key, and that is the war that, you know, she is alluding to. One has to fight while being internal to the organization or to the internal stakeholders as well. And it goes back to the conversation on, you know, build versus buy, that how you will have this founder out of ITIM who, I mean, we both were joking about it and sort of called it founder's ego, right? That how, you know, this entire notion of I can do it myself, right? Without realizing that it can give you humongous time to market advantages. Why should you not acquire, or why you should not outsource commodity pieces in your need of, you know, technology stack? You should, of course, look at building it on your own when it becomes a strategic competitive advantage, which is sustainable competitive advantage at large, right? And how it contributes to the end offering or the product that you make. For example, when we have launched the EV brand called Vida from Hero, right? We've launched a connected scooter where I know almost real time how the scooter is being ridden, what kind of efficiency, whether the guy is an aggressive rider, whether the guy is a conservative rider, whether he's extracting maximum out of the same battery threshold, right? So it, for very first time, we have that humongous data that we are, you know, looking at. And as an OEM, which has traditionally relied on the dealers, right? How is it that OEM can not only own and manage the end consumer at large, but today has the possibility of creating amazing monetization options that never existed in the past, right? I can give charging free to a particular cohort basis how they behave the scooter or how they contribute to community as whole. I can actually underwrite a cheaper insurance whenever the renewal comes up because I know what is the guy's riding behavior as. I can in fact give him a larger exchange value because for the very first time I not only have the provenance of the scooter, I also know what all scooter has gone through, right? So all of these abilities or all of these paradigms never existed earlier. And I mean, those who have been in the auto know that, you know, beyond just auto sales, the largest set of revenue drivers are the ancillary services, namely your insurance or your exchange or your accessories and your financing, etc., etc. So I think more so, and you know, when we talk about the generative AI and AI at large, I think one of the issues that auto has been struggling with, that the launch of new platform, which usually took about 7 to 8 years at large, and hence you see a model refresh coming in, you know, 8 to 10 years. With this data and with this the generative AI, their entire platform development has shrunk to maybe 2-3 years now. So today, an auto manufacturer has the ability to ingest almost real life inputs real time and simulate and create the future ready pieces of the same platform which never existed in the past. Happy to have any questions after that.
No, it's a brilliant point actually, especially what you mentioned about real-time pieces of information that come to you, and then you can stitch it together in the form of data, in the form of insights, which can just kind of lead to even better service and, you know, even stronger output for your customers. So just to build on that further, Gaurav, I believe even at your organization, there is a lot of real-time data that you use, and you kind of use that in your marketing to throw back to your customers. So we'd love to know more about, you know, the influence of technology in more real-time and more authentic decision-making to create a better impact in the customers' lives.
Sure, and maybe I'll just add to something what Manav was talking about, like, you know, now with EVs becoming like, you know, fairly scaled industry, there's a lot of data flowing in, but then say about 4 or 5 years back when I was at Cardeco, I remember having a chat with one of the OEMs who are fairly heavily invested into EVs now. And one of the questions that they were asking us, because as Cardeco we had access to a lot of data points of how people ride and so on and so forth and buy and sell. that if I were to sell my car at say 20 lakh rupees, why would this person buy when the resale value is still not established? One of the ways by which you buy any high purchase decision like a car is what's your resale value. Now it's a static data point. It's not like on a real-time data point, but that's what data points do. I'm like, at that time we didn't have too much of an answer because the resale value of the car itself was not established.
Right.
But what Manav was also talking about now, they're getting a lot of like say driving data on a real time, and that's where the industry also starts to do better, because now he can give like cheaper insurances, buyback at a better value, and so on and so forth, which in turn encourages good behavior. So, and on the same thing, I mean, like, I come from Noise, smartwatch company. And I'm like, I joined about 7 months back, so it's not that I've been there for a long time. But then one of the first things that I noticed, I'm like, having come from a digital services background, was that there's a lot of data that the company is generating and sitting on.
Correct.
But how do you make that work? Like that's the big change management that starts to that needed to happen and has started to happen. The kind of data, I mean, like, once a person buys a smartwatch, I mean, like, they'll come on the Noise app, and then they'll activate through the scan code and so on and so forth. So we'll know where they bought it from, what their name is, and so a lot of first-party data flows in. But that is just transactional data and a static data. What starts to really become the cherry on the cake is like, on a 24-hour basis, I'm getting data about how the health metrics are and so on and so forth. And when we actually looked at this transaction data and the behavioral data coming together, which is very rare, a lot of the products that we sell or are selling today, be it the services or product, you don't get both the things at the same time, which made this data of a very rich vein. So what we started to experiment with is that how do we make this data work? So if I didn't sleep very well last night, I slept for 4 hours. Now, because I'm wearing this ring, I have a nudge which is saying that your readiness scores are not that great. Your heart rate variability was like, subpar last night. And many other sleep stage analysis. Your deep sleep was like subpar and so on. So don't push yourself today. Yeah, so I mean, as the case would be कि नहीं उठे हो सुबह जाके जो भी करना exercise करो and so on and so forth, or put in a 10-12 hour work day. But then this is what data starts to do. It makes the whole experience that much more better for the users. Right. The kind of things, I mean, can I actually, and this is more about like, helping me, but how do I augment my revenue streams also?
Right.
Can I get an AI coach developed as a service for people who are like checking their health scores repeatedly, who are putting in the 10,000 steps on a daily basis and so on and so forth. So the cohortization, segmentation becomes that much more easy. And then last thing that I'll talk about, Kanika, is having seen a lot of different industries in digital, and this is not a critique. I think myself as a user would be fall into this. We are lazy in terms of how we consume our products and services.
Okay.
I think Kishan was talking about like यहाँ पे, and then we have worked together. With Pepper. Should I learn it A to Z, or should I have someone else teach me? And this is a B2B kind of a scenario, right? Where the work that you have to get done, and they're fairly educated and informed people on both sides. Even then, people are not willing to actually go deep down into the product. Now, imagine you're talking to a country of 1.4 billion. It will be like absolutely stupid for us to understand, to believe that the person will actually engage and understand the product A to Z. And which is where data helps you in educating or curating the experiences much better, the kind of examples that I spoke about. So that's the macro point of view that I have.
Right.
One of the things, right, what Gaurav was talking about, the ring. So if you really try connecting the dots, imagine a day when someone is wearing a ring, riding a connected vehicle, or a ADAS fully autonomous vehicle, and the ring diagnoses a beat, and that beat says that, hey, you know what, you may be having a cardiac issue, and it takes you directly to the hospital, or sort of pings you the option of the nearest hospital, or sort of calls your family doctor if you have, ingested his phone number. So I think possibilities are humongous. It is these serendipity moments who will become your life moments as you will go along, and as the tech and the pieces are gonna talk to each other seamlessly.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thought actually, and I think it really helps me also dovetail into the next section of our discussion. And I'm conscious of time, so we can probably just keep it quick, but I just definitely want to hear everyone's point of view on two things in particular. One is we've spoken a lot about technology, empowering our brands, impacting our business, and we touched a little bit upon how it can help improve a customer's life or a consumer's life. So I'd love to hear more about that. Like, how have you, personally seen maybe an example here and there where the technology used in the company or your product itself, being so technology enabled, has genuinely helped a customer or created a better experience? I think that's one thing I'd love to hear about. I'm sure the audience would love to hear as well. And the second is any trend that you see other than generative AI, which we touched upon at length, for example, personalized video storytelling or otherwise, that you think is something to watch out for everyone in this room who wants to learn from this panel. So over to you, and would love to hear your point of view on both these things.
Sure. So on the first part, like I mentioned earlier, in our organization, people come to seek loans. Largely, even though we have other products like credit cards and other, but largely lending products. They apply for a product and then they wait. In a traditional process, they used to fill up forms, signatures, etc., submit it, and then 1 or 2, 3 days later, they used to realize that the loan was rejected. Right now, the journey is online, but the rejection factor is still there because because of certain factors, where you're living, where you're working, etc., etc. And the biggest service as an organization you can do to these consumers if you can improve their chances. Right. So like I said earlier, the rejection rate was close to 50-55%, 45% people used to get loans. We started working on the data which we were collecting, be it the credit score data or the other factors, which were getting recorded. And we figured out that which set of customer is well suited for which set of provider. We call it smart match or the chances of approval. It is an algorithm available because when you come onto our platform, you give us your details, we'll show you all the available options. Earlier the options were sorted on the lowest interest rate, and it's instinctively when you'll go for a loan, you will choose the option where the interest rate is the lowest, right? But your chances may not be bright with that provider. So now we have an option where it says you can sort it on the chances of approval. We'll tell you where you have an extremely high chances and where you have an extremely low chances of approval. You can go ahead and apply any option you want, but we are just assisting you, and we have seen 30-35% improvement on the rejection rates are lower by 30-35%. That is something which we have done. The other thing is
so in other words, you're enabling people to get more loans, or more people to get the loans, and thereby impact their lives.
The second thing is and it not only us, it's the how the ecosystem has changed post-COVID. We were since our inception for last 10 years, we were pushing for digitized journeys. We were working with partners, be it the fintech organizations or the banks. We wanted an end-to-end digital journey where people can come onto a platform, give their details, do all the required steps in the process like KYC, verification, etc., and they get approved in a real-time manner, and the funds can be transferred within a very short window. But earlier, so if I give you a perspective, pre-COVID, it usually took 3 to 4 days in case of a personal loan. In case of a credit card, again, 15, 20 days to receive that particular credit card. Now, post-COVID, and we have worked with large banks like IndusInd also, IndusInd, RBL, etc., etc. We have worked with newer fintechs also. Now, on our platform, you can get funds in 5 minutes flat. You can get a credit card, even though it would be, a digital card, a physical card, because we'll have to customize the card and then courier it to you, so it will take some time. But you will get a digital card in real time. So you come onto a platform, you have no credit card, you apply, get approved, do your KYC verification and other verifications online, and within 5 minutes you'll have a digital card and you can start shopping online. So this is how we have improved the entire lending process, and this is because when it comes to loans, you want money as soon as possible, as cheaper as possible. So these are the two things when it comes to loans.
Lovely.
And we are helping customers in both these things.
Super. Sounds amazing. Puneet, what about you?
I think every brand has a purpose, and for us, it's to make technology affordable. When we buy a phone from you, we're basically funding your next purchase. We're giving you cash for your trash, actually. And
Cash for your trash. Is that an official tagline?
we use it quite a lot sometimes. But yeah, a lot of times we give you cash for your old phone, old device. And the other thing that we are doing, and which is also picking up, and we're very proud about, is the refurbished segment. We were selling refurbished phones. We've seen stories, we've seen people who've been eyeing an iPhone for a long time, people saving money, they couldn't afford it. And because all economic stratas exist in this country, and iPhones and some other phones are really aspirational. They use it. There's a huge gig economy around, mobile phones. So people want those phones, but they cannot afford it. They cannot afford a new one. Some people even fear walking into a store. So we touch upon those people. We are not the ones who are, so you can today go in the unorganized market, buy an old phone or maybe a refurbished phone, but there's no warranty around it. We give you a 6 months warranty. We give you a 15 days robust. We have a refund policy. So I think we were making that impact. And otherwise also, as a business, we are making an impact on the planet, because we are in the e-commerce business. We're not letting that old tech go into trash and landfills. We're just extending the life of an old phone. So that's how I think we definitely are making an impact.
No, it's really interesting. I think I loved what you spoke about, in a way, empowering the gig economy, especially in tier 3, tier 4 towns where there's a hesitation or lack of funds to buy something that enables your dreams. So I love the sound of that. Not to mention that you are definitely focusing on sustainability as a concept through your brand promise.
Absolutely.
Lovely. What about you, Madhav?
I'll use your keyword quickly. We have less time. Empowering customer, make it their life easier to have a product like this, which is very essential. It's been compromising your
I
productivity.
think what you said about Lenskart Academy, maybe people don't know about that, so maybe you can share.
Okay, so there's a Lenskart Academy, and then there's a Lenskart Foundation, where we go to the remotest location, and whenever someone approaches us in terms of having free eye test, free eye checkup, and we provide them essential products at the first space. And Academy is where we train people to become the best of optoms who can serve us or across anywhere, pan-India and global. So that's something which we try to do. And like I said, I've talked about delivery, I've talked about how it's helpful for us is apparently, for some people, it's an essential product. Their entire day can go for a toss if you break in the morning. So that's a feasibility, that's a technology which is helping us to do a fast operational work to that and give them the final result. And the second, ease of access of buying us, the complete omni process. In metros, I'm assuming every one of you have a nearest store at your home. If you can't go to the store, being a little not in a mood of, you can buy us online. If you don't feel like that also, you can call us. We'll come to your doorstep with a machine and do your eye test. If that's also not happening, you can WhatsApp us. We'll chat with you. If that's also not working for you, buy us from Amazon. One-day delivery is over there as well. So we won't leave you anywhere.
Nice one. I think for me what stood out was the fact that there are free checkups being given in the smaller towns. And I think, like you said, customer behavior is difficult to change in this category. People take poor eyesight for granted. And just the fact that you're providing that service, I'm sure many people will be more motivated to get their eyes tested.
Apparently, you can go and have your eye test. I mean, we are not forcing you to sort of buy it. And another part of technology is also helpful because if I talk about it, few years back when I was not a fan of having more and more iPad, no power, it's a zero power glasses apparently, but if you go like a little back, you have those local opticians with an option of about 100 pairs in a store. With the help of technology in our iPads, in our screens in the stores and our website, you have 20,000 options to select with. So it's not any more boring for you, it's more a cutting edge technology which helps you to make a custom-made product for you, which can be an inspiring product for you as well.
Does
Lovely.
everyone at Lenskart has to wear zero power glasses?
No, not really, sir. So last time when I was visiting one of the panels, someone asked me that you're being from Lenskart and you're not wearing it. So I actually went back. I asked my team to give it one. Kyunki power nahi hai, but has to be presentable. So it's like that.
Nice one.
Yeah, so we have to go with one feature and one impact, right? I mean, that's the...
Yeah, that's the construct. But I think maybe from your lens, maybe you can talk about the trend first, because we've had some examples of
I'll
consumer
speak of the
impact.
feature first because I think I'm not speaking from a consumer angle, I'm speaking from all marketers out in the room in that case. One very big use of technology that we started doing, of course, everyone was trying to create content using AI altogether. I realized that in India, a lot of companies have created immense amount of content already. In that case, I mean, one of them is Paisabazaar for that matter. They've been so ahead of the journey that today if someone comes and asks that they want to match for what you guys have done, it's almost like a 3-year journey, we know it for sure, that way around. But a lot of times what has happened is people always forget to refurbish the existing content on their websites. And that is all for the purpose of SEO and one front in that case. But it usually comes up when your SEO retainer is on renewal 1 month before that. That's the real sense of what happens. What we've done as technology is we get integrated with your GSC, in that case your Google Search Console, and on a live track basis we are able to tell you at a URL level basis which pages are up for refresh, which pages are up for repurpose, which pages are up for quick wins, and which pages are losing your track. So there I can actually tell you exactly if you've written an article of top 5 credit cards to buy in 2019, that article is of no use today. But that will only come up when some person will sit and audit through each and every URL with the use of generative AI, not for creating content, but for analyzing the existing URL level content that you have created, and then giving you immediate insights on what keywords do I need to add on this page, how much length do I need to increase of this, what FAQs do I need to add. I can give you like literally in 30 minutes for your entire website. And I think that's where we are working with a lot of people across with them as well in this case. But that's a use of technology we have done for Martech as a whole. See, it's a humongous effort of at least 20 people sitting and doing it for a 1,000-word website, 1,000-page website. With this, you can do it in like 30 minutes. That's a use of technology we've done as a feature. One on the impact side that you ask in on a trend side, I can tell you, we were the first people to, I don't know if you know that, but with Pepper, we started by reaching out to writers on Facebook groups, basically. We used to go and put up a post, anyone who wants to earn 300 rupees a day, be a writer with us. That was the logic of how we started as a marketplace of creators. I think over the last 6 years into the journey now, we have had more than 200,000 writers who have applied to be part of with Pepper. We've, I can tell you, I have had more than, we have a hall of fame kind of a thing. We have more than 600 odd writers who have left their full-time jobs to earn just from Pepper. Because here, you don't have to go and apply for a job. You sit at your home, it's like an Uber ride. It comes to you directly and you get a predictability of revenue on how much you're gonna earn. So I think that on the impact level, we have, I think, powered a lot of homes. In fact, we have seen a lot of people pay their college fees, we have had a lot of people who have no source of other earnings. COVID showed us a lot of people lost their loved ones, basically, but did not have a means of earning. They came to Pepper. In fact, we had there was a big journalist layoffs that were happening during COVID. So a lot of those people came to Pepper because that writing was a ability they all knew, basically. Nice. And they all came into Pepper.
That's
so
a
I
lovely
think that's
story.
An impact
that
we've been able to.
Yeah. Super. I'm sure you have many to share. That as well. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay, we are out of time. Okay, we just ran out of time. So maybe we'll just take 2 minutes in case there is any final thoughts from both of you. Otherwise, I can bring it to a wrap.
So Okay, so if you are looking at future of technology and what are the sort of facets it has potential to impact the most, according to me, two of the largest sectors or the industries which are yet waiting to be innovated are mobility and health. If you look at health, I think the largest set of, I think one of the guys here spoke about how we are lazy enough to go only when something hits us. The diagnostic stage or the stage where the doctor asks you about the symptoms, all of that is largely big data and the pattern-led problems. Treatment is only one set of it and the outcome of it. I think that is something which is waiting to be disrupted at scale, and I'm sure companies like Noise are making some mark there. Second is, if you look at mobility at large, if a guy who has been only able to afford a cycle right now and moves to a scooter or a bike, his ability to earn more increases, by how? And his kids go to a better school, he gets a better, living life, he gets a better employment, his ability to do more gets a lot more impacted. And now imagine it at scale where you have tech impacting mobility and sustainable mobility at large.
I'll be super quick. Manav spoke about mobility and health. I think whatever we are doing has to have some sort of a larger purpose. Everybody's talking the next 25, 30 years are India's years because of human capital being one of the main drivers. I think that's where we play a big part through technology. Yeah. The example that I gave, I'm like, how do you make me much more productive as a human being? If we can do that to a lot of people who are buying, say, smart products, the collective human capital enhancement of the country can be impacted positively. And that obviously just plays into the macro tailwind that we are experiencing as a country. So I think that's where our compass is pointed towards. How do you really do human capital augmentation by making them more productive through data and technology? Let's see where we'll end up, but that's how we think we go.
No, I think that's a great point as well. Human capital augmentation, talking about how we can be physically, mentally, socially better versions of ourselves. On that note, I'll bring this panel to a close. I think my final thought to all of you, based on everything we heard today, would be that all of these organizations are serving a higher purpose, a larger purpose, which is about positively impacting our consumers' lives through technology. So it's not just about creating brands that create more impact through technology. It's really about ultimately raising the lives, the quality of lives of our Indian citizens, and ultimately serving our Indian consumers, not to mention all the global exports that we do based on technology. So thank you so much.